the streamer and Whiskey, they finally go on that date, the one that the streamer has been using to lead on bait and use Whiskey to keep Whiskey in their back pocket. It is not gonna go well. It is as terrible and as vile as we all assumed the date was gonna end up. Because again, the streamer is not sure what their identity is, not sure if they're a woman, a man, or non-binary, isn't sure, but specifically believes there is a man, a gay man who likes to cross-dress, possibly, and wants to turn a straight man gay. This is what he's literally doing to Whiskey. He's hoping that Whiskey will not be upset over the fact that they've been lying to him this entire time and will use the emotional blackmail to keep Whiskey on their side. And that Whiskey will turn gay for them. I am not kidding. This is literally what they're hoping for. But they're still anxious and wary leading up to the date, and is anxious and wary during the entire date. They're mocking themselves and also mocking Whiskey during this entire time, and is outright rude to Whiskey when Whiskey's like, oh, trying to put his arms around their shoulder or over their waist, just like snapping at Whiskey at every opportunity, and even trying to find ways to get out of the date mentally, and then decides to leave the date. And Whiskey was like, oh, are you sick? I'll take care of you. Just tell me where you live. I'll support and take care of you. Like, he's even telling the streamer he's going to give the streamer the future the streamer has been wishing for and wanting this entire time. The one that he'd been pushing the fantasies onto the photographer, Whiskey's basically telling him he can give that to him. It is a mess. Sooner or later, the streamer's like, well, I can have what I want. I have a man who adores me, loves me, cares for me, and I care for him. It's typically not the same way. And so they start kissing after he tries to leave but decides to end up not leaving. And so they're kissing. And sooner or later, Whiskey figures out what they have downstairs and is rightfully furious and upset, realizing they'd been lied to and tricked the entire time. And the streamer is trying to calm him down and trying to get him to go somewhere where they can have an actual conversation about it. And he's trying to apologize, but Whiskey's not hearing it. And Whiskey starts throwing hands, which we all knew was going to come, was going to happen. And he has all rights to throw hands with someone who had scammed and lied to him this entire time. He has rights to do that because, again, he'd been catfished and scammed. Like, even the streamer acknowledges he had been scamming this dude this entire time for the dude's money. Full on being a catfish, gold-digging scammer. Like, luckily, though, he doesn't get truly too hurt because the male lead steps in and saves him, thinking that this was a woman being abused by a dude, only to find out it was the streamer, and gets the streamer out of there. I get it when the others find out they're upset for the streamer and they want to go as far as physically beating up the dude who had physically harmed the streamer, which the dude only got maybe one punch and one kick in on the streamer before the male lead stepped in and gave the dude a good old kicking, literally sending the dude to the ground. And the others want to go back and give him a beating themselves. They're upset over what this dude did to the streamer, and I think it's insane. And none of them are upset and disgusted with the streamer for what the streamer did. Because again, the streamer catfish, lied, scammed, and stole from a dude and was trying to turn a straight dude gay. Like, I do not understand how any of them were not upset with the streamer over this. Like, yes, the main character acknowledges that both parties were at fault. And I'm like, they're both equally at fault. But I'm like, no, the streamer is more at fault. Like, yes, he got his conniptions at him, but he was also warned beforehand by the trainer that if he continues down this path, he was going to get his conniptions on his ass. But no, he continued down that path and continued to scam and use this dude. But they're like, you know what, we can't go physically beating the dude because they wanted to physically beat this dude up. They decide instead they're going to scare the dude. They're literally going to terrify him. So they hunt the dude down at the restaurant. This dude is like practically apologizing to the streamer. And yes, it's mostly because he recognizes the streamer's status because they're pretending that the streamer and the photographer are the sons of a mafia boss. And they use this to terrify the living daylights of the dude. Now they do give the dude back his money that he spent on the streamer. But still, they get their gets off on terrifying a dude that had been scammed and tricked and lied to by the streamer, and that kind of pisses me off. Okay, it literally angers me because the streamer practically gets away with what he did. He gets away with scamming and tricking a dude who was just trying to find himself somebody after, his wife left him, and yes, him and his wife both cheated on each other, but he was trying to find himself someone new and have a happy marriage with this person, only to get scammed and tricked to. It was just not okay. Okay, it kind of pisses me off that the streamer just practically gets away with it. Gets away with scamming someone. The main character and the male lead, they go on a date, and this date leads to them arguing. I am not kidding. They argue over the main character, quote unquote, being a gold digger. So the male lead tells the main character he still wants the main character to move in with him, and they will try to think things through because he's going to quit the company, maybe form his own company, or have his go back to school. And he says he can't provide the same things he could beforehand with his old job if he leaves his job. And this leads to the main character realizing the dude might think him of a gold digger, and so this leads to them literally arguing over it. And the dude trying to state that no, he does not think the main character is a gold digger, but he has noticed how the main character reacts and acts to gifts or dinners he takes the main character on. And that the main character always lies to him about how he truly feels about these things and acts like he's an obligation to the main character, and the main character has to spend time with him, and it always puts him off-putting. And if he loses giving the main character a good life, the main character will leave him. Yes, this is their literal argument because, again, the main character refuses to tell him his true identity. And so he thinks the main character is going to abandon him for someone richer because, again, he can't provide that old lifestyle for the main character anymore if he quits his job. And the main character, instead of being a reasonable adult, walks off after yelling at him and goes home and realizes that, yes, he can see where the dude is coming from because, again, he's lying to the dude about his identity. And it's such a mess. It was such a mess, and it kind of irked me the entire time. The trainer is in love with his hookup and thinks the hookup is looking down on him. So with the help of the others, they devise a plan to make it seem like he's actually richer than the hookup, so the hookup would feel the same way he does in their relationship. And this will prove their relationship. Instead of having a conversation, none of the adults in this group think maybe having a conversation is actually a good thing to have. No, they think of a plan to basically trick and hurt the hookup. Because again, they all assume the hookup is looking down on him. And the date place they choose, which is a high-rise restaurant, is a restaurant this dude's family owns. And they also decide they're going to have a party at the restaurant that's going to be paid off by the male lead. They're all there, they witness it, and things go super well. The hookup sooner or later does figure out that this dude is lying to him, but is actually really okay with it. Because again, the restaurant they went to is the restaurant his family owns. But I think it's super insane that this dude decides to trick and lie to his partner because he thinks his partner is looking down on him instead of having a literal conversation like a grown adult. Is insane to me. Is really freaking insane, especially when this dude is almost 30.